Coming to you sweating after playing lots of basketball in the super humid weather. It was super fun, so we're always going to play no matter what it's like. It's Webberless Nerd Out time! How you guys doing today? Happy Wellness Nerd Out time, you guys, and a very happy birthday to Rich Demling. Happy birthday, dude. Great talking to you today. We're going to talk about him more at the end, but as for now, let's talk about testosterone, because that's what we're talking about today. And when we talk about testosterone, well, there are a lot of myths to debunk. We're going to talk about it for the next few days. We're going to devote some good time because it's a common topic, and two, there's a lot to get through, people. So first, let's start by saying, what is testosterone? Well, it's the primary male sex hormone. And when we talk about, now, having said that, testosterone is also very important for females. I mean, it's very important that women maintain healthy levels of testosterone, and we'll talk about why in the coming days here. We're not going to get into it today. Today we're going to kind of focus on the origin of the name, what it means, what it is, and how it's produced in the body. Bing, bing. So testosterone is what we call an androgen. And if we break down the word androgen, well, andro means male and gen means to produce. And so it's no surprise that testosterone as an androgen is responsible for producing male sexual characteristics. All right, so that's why it's called an androgen. So, let's kind of start from the beginning here, and by the beginning I mean the 6th week of gestation, that period between gestation, right from conception to birth, right, that whole period in utero, and during the 6th week, well, the male and female reproductive tissues have not differentiated yet, so they are the same at that point. All right, so really we don't have any differences yet. But when we get to week 7, that all changes, folks. And during week 7, the formation of the testes begins in males due to the genes, specific genes or alleles, we could say forms of a gene, on the Y chromosome, of course, promoting the production of the testes and hence the secretion of testosterone. And what does this secretion of testosterone promote during the 7th week, once again, of gestation in utero? Well, it promotes the development of the urogenital tract. It promotes the development of the external genitalia in themselves. And it promotes the descent of the testes through the inguinal canal during the last 2 months of gestation or uterine development. All right. So now let's, it should be said though that the ovaries in utero, in a female, of course, also produce some testosterone, but in much lower amounts. All right. So we shouldn't leave that out, because it's not like they don't produce any. All right, they do, just in much lower amounts in the uterus. Now, if we kind of fast forward a little bit, and we go to around puberty, when the kids are kind of getting annoying, giving you a bunch of headaches if they haven't given you enough already, right? Well, I wouldn't know, to be honest, but I'm sure they do. We go to puberty, and let's kind of talk about how testosterone is produced. Let's talk about all the players from top to bottom, beginning with the hypothalamus, pun intended, top to bottom, baby. And we start with the hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus releases gonadotropin releasing hormone, and gonadotropin releasing hormone travels down the hypophyseal trunk, or you could say the hypophyseal portal system, or the hypothalamo hypophyseal, there's many words, hypophyseal portal system, but the point of it is the reason I keep saying a bunch of different ways is because, you may have heard of it in a different way, but I want you to get the point here. It starts, there's gonadotropin releasing hormone in the hypothalamus, travels down to the pituitary gland, specifically the anterior to pituitary gland, which we also know as the adenohypophysis. So what happens when gonadotropin releasing hormone, it gets to the anterior pituitary gland? Well, it stimulates the release of luteinizing hormone, or LH, and follicle stimulating hormone, or FSH. All right? So now we're in the pituitary, and what happens with LH and FSH? Well, we'll talk about LH today, or luteinizing hormone, not to get too deep in one day. It is a lot. It is a lot to get through with testosterone, but I wanted to kind of, finish at least up to, the basics of testosterone formation. All right? And this luteinizing hormone will travel from the anterior pituitary through the blood to the testes. You guessed it, baby. And when luteinizing hormone gets there, to the testes that is, it promotes the conversion of cholesterol into testosterone. And this is done via what are called Leydig cells. Leydig, if you've heard of them, I'm sure. Estrogens related to Sertoli cells, fun fact. But we're talking about Leydig cells and how luteinizing hormone promotes their action to initiate the conversion of cholesterol into testosterone. And this happens through many different steps, but let's just kind of talk about the first one today. All right, and we start with DHEA, or dehydroepiandrosterone. Dehydroepiandrosterone. That's DHEA, if you've heard of DHEA, right? And again, we're talking about the conversion of cholesterol to testosterone here, to kind of zoom out for a second. All right, we're in the testes, right? And this is after luteinizing hormone got there. So when we have this DHEA, well, it's then converted into androstenedione, okay? And androstenedione is then converted finally into testosterone. Bada bang, bada boom. And this is just summarizing it. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but we want the big picture today. We don't want to make it too crazy, right? The enzyme that converts androstenedione into testosterone is 17-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase. That's what it is. You can fact check me, but I think that's accurate. And so that's how we get testosterone from, again, gonadotropin releasing hormone all the way up in the hypothalamus down to the testes, where it is converted from cholesterol by Leydig cells and due to the action of luteinizing hormone, which had to travel there from the adenohypophysis. Now you're all like, great, Spanglish. What's the point of this? Well, the point is, at When Wellness, we're not gonna talk about something like testosterone unless we give you the full meat and potatoes of the basis of how it is formed, the origin of the name, what it means, because we go from the ground up here at When Wellness, and if this wasn't interesting to you, if you're not an endocrinology buff, or you're not into biochem or enzymes or things like that, whatever, you'll probably get more out of the next few days, but I think this was a great place to start off. Really should be none other, right? So who do we got on here today? Let's say hi to the people, huh? Queen Bee, how you doing, girl? Thank you for tuning in. And Monica, I've been seeing you a lot lately. Thank you for hopping on. I hope you guys got something out of it, or at least found it interesting, all right? So, very fitting, before we go, and we're talking about testosterone today, because I know a man with a lot of it. And his name is Rich Demling. Happy birthday, Richie. Oh my God, man. You know why I say you got a lot of testosterone? Well, what do you guys see? You're going to be like, what, dude? Where is this going? What do you guys associate a guy that rides motorcycles with? I always think of, not to be judgmental, it's a cool thing, if anything. But, Paul, what's up, baby? How you doing? Thanks for hopping on. But I think of a guy, on his motorcycle, like he's a bad dude, He's got a lot of testosterone naturally, he's really not afraid of much. He just goes after life. And, Rich, I, after talking to you and, whatever we talk about, obviously, between us, I'm really happy that you're in a great place in your life right now, and that, like myself and like everybody that I love, you're improving yourself every day and in so many ways, and that's a fantastic thing to see, with the people you love especially. I mean, we wish that upon people that we don't even know, but it's heartwarming, and it's inspiring for me to improve myself more, and just number one, you could be happy every day with anything that you're doing, right? Anything that's going on. And it's not specific, the improvement. I mean, it's just, a general thing. Your life's just getting better and better, which is so fantastic. But you got to promise me one thing, that you never get satisfied, You could be happy the whole way. You should be happy the whole way. And I know I've said this before, but it really is true. The best thing you could do for yourself and for anybody else is to never get satisfied and to keep going after the things you want. And albeit we don't need anything, we never need anything. No one ever needs to do anything. If you can kind of trick your mind into saying you need something because you want it so bad, that's only going to do you great things. And I know you're doing great up in Boston, and I hope I get to see you again soon. You came through my crib the last time you were here, man, and I appreciate that so much. It was you coming and showing some love. It was great to see you, and I'll see you soon, brother. But promise me when you ride that motorcycle down here, you don't go too fast, get too crazy, all right? And wear a helmet, all right? Like your dad, I'm telling you. Don't ride your bike without your helmet, all right? But I love you, man, and I want you to know 100,000%. This one is for you. So this is forever your day in the book of When Wellness, and I hope it was a great one. Tonight's even better, and you start off your next year right tomorrow, my man. So have a great rest of your night once again. Yeah, Paul, yo, what's up, baby? All right, that's all we got for you today, you guys. Thank you very much. Tomorrow we're going to talk more about testosterone. Not sure about which part yet, but we'll figure it out then. You have a great rest of your night, you guys, and happy When Wellness. Thank you so much. Good night.